Hello everyone, it's Kyle and this is My Gaming Update Episode 1. So this is a series that I'm going to start where I'll try to do a video every few weeks or every month to 2 months, depending on how many games I'm actually playing, where I'll just talk about the games that I've played over the last little while. It's kind of like Pete Dorr's games I bought recently, where he just talks about his latest pickups. So it's kind of going to be like that, but I'll also go a step further and talk about games that I've had for a while that I've either decided to revisit or I just kept playing. You know, there's always like 1 or 2 multiplayer games that you love so much or that you're addicted to that you kept playing throughout the year or you just keep going back to. So that's what this is going to kind of be like. So first of all, I'll talk about the newer games that I bought and I have played. I'll start off with Brink, which is actually the first video that I did on YouTube. I did an unboxing for this. And it seems to be getting a lot of mixed reviews, more so on the negative side than anything. More so because I think a lot of people were expecting an epic FPS team-based game, kind of like Team Fortress 2 apparently, but it kind of fell short. It's not to say that it's a bad game, it's just not what we were expecting. I know for myself, I was seeing the trailers and I thought this was going to be like a crazy big team game, and it is very team oriented. Don't get me wrong, there's 8 versus 8, so you always have 8 teammates, or 7 teammates I guess, in yourself, and you all have different classes, and you can change your class anytime that you want in the game. You just need to go to a computer. There's like a soldier, engineer, medic, and they all have different abilities. Like the soldier, I think, refills your ammo because you eventually run out of ammo and you can't pick up other people's guns, so you need them around. And then there's also the medic, which heals people, and that tends to be the class that I lean towards the most, unless there's something that an engineer needs, because there's always some objective in the game. Either you're defending or you're on the offense, and if you're on the offense you usually have to like go destroy some kind of wall to get to the next part, and usually engineers are needed for that. So if we're good with the engineers, usually I'll just be the medic, just because you can heal anybody. And if you die in the game and you have to restart at the beginning, it's sometimes a really long walk before you get into the action again, so it's really useful to have the medics around and heal you right away, and so you can get right back into the action. So anyway, yeah, the reason why I'm thinking that this game isn't getting the love that we were all expecting was because it's only the campaign mode. When you play multiplayer, it's the exact same solo campaign that you were playing. There's no other games like you know, Capture the Flag or just you know, Slayer. It's just you're replaying the campaign but with people online as well. So it doesn't make it that much more interesting, and it does actually take a while to get used to the controls, and it kind of feels clunky at times. Like I know when you're running around with other people and your teammates and they kind of get in the way, then you'll stop running and you have to actually press one button to run, and then you'll just be always running unless you get bumped. It's just a different kind of feel to an FPS. So I would say that it's still a good game. Like I've played about 12 or so hours. It takes about 8 hours to beat the game. There's 2 campaigns, 4 hours each, and then I played a few hours online, but it's not a game that you can play a lot of hours online in one go. Like I'll play like an hour or 2 max, because I've only played like 3 times online, and the thing is that you really need a team that knows what they're doing and talking mostly. So I would actually like to get into this game a little bit more. So if by chance you do own Brink and you need an extra teammate, send me a message and we'll play online, because I really do want to get into that game a little bit more anyway. The next one would be Sonic Rush on the DS, because as you know, I am a fan of Pete Dorr, and his favorite character is Sonic, and Sonic is actually nearing its 20th anniversary, so I decided to pick up some Sonic games and play them out. I've only played an hour of this, but I am really enjoying it, and it plays kind of like, you know, the old school Sonics. But what's neat about it is that because it's on the DS, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it uses both screens. So this is the top screen and this is the bottom screen. So if you're playing as Sonic and you're on the top screen and all of a sudden you run down and you go into the next screen, you'll keep playing in that screen, and you just keep going back and forth between those two. So it just adds an interesting dynamic for the DS game. So I'm really enjoying this one though, so far. I picked up Marvel Ultimate Alliance recently because it was like $5 and, you know, the case seemed nice and everything, so I decided to pick it up, and it's not to say a bad game, but it's definitely the weakest game that I've played over the last little while. I've played a few hours, and it's just your regular, you know, 4-player beat 'em up kind of game with Marvel superheroes. I think the coolest part is actually the storyline, where every once in a while you get a cutscene, and that's kind of why I'm playing it, just to get to those cutscenes and see what the storyline would be for all of them together. And yeah, it's probably just a game that I need to play after watching either a Marvel movie or read some comic books to just try to get me into that mood. And I've also picked up, at that same time, I picked up Oblivion, because I'm so excited for Skyrim. I saw the trailers for it like a while ago, and I was like, you know, I never actually played Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, so I decided to pick up the Game of the Year edition, which has Oblivion, Knights of the Nine, and Shivering Isles. I'm probably like only 5 or 6 hours into the game so far, but I'm loving it. The graphics and the size of the world in this are just amazing. I'm so upset with myself for not picking this up sooner. Like, I think this Oblivion came out in like 2006 or something like that. I'm 5 years too late, and this is just such an amazing game. And it couldn't have actually, I picked it up at the wrong time because Brink came out and then Noire came out. But I'm definitely going back to it now that I beat Brink, and I also beat Noire, so I can focus back on this. And it kind of feels like an MMO, but single player. And another interesting aspect is that you get to actually play in first-person medieval, which is interesting, an interesting take on that. But you can also go third-person as well. So like I said, I also picked up Noire on the Xbox 360, and this is an awesome game for 2011 so far. It took me 32 hours to beat. I beat it just 2 days ago. And it's just such a unique and fresh game. It kind of feels like Grand Theft Auto, I guess, to an extent, because it is an open world and you're driving around from mission to mission. But it's very different because, well, first of all, you're a good guy, so you can't just kill anybody that you want. And what else is there? There's 40 street missions, so you'll be on your way to like a case. Okay, so you start off as a police officer, then you go to a detective in traffic, then you get bumped up to homicide, and you do vice as well, and arson. So you're always doing different kinds of cases, and there's 21 main story cases. But while you're doing this, there's also like 40 street cases where you get called in, depending on where you are, and you can go and do those. Those don't take very long. You're usually just like showing up and shooting somebody or arresting somebody. But the other cases, they're a lot more detailed, where you get to a scene and you'll have to try to figure out exactly what's going on. So you'll look at clues and you'll try to see if they're actually related to the case and how they would be related to the case, and then you write down the important clues in your notebook. And then once you eventually arrest somebody or pick them up for questioning, that's where the real game begins, because it's all about the interrogation and the facial expressions. And the graphics are not super amazing on this, but the facial expressions and how the characters actually look are amazing. Like, you'll recognize so many people, so many like TV actors in this game. There's one guy that's from they made cameos in House. There's another guy that I think is the brother of Tim Allen in Home Improvement. There's another guy from Fringe, the father in the Fringe. He's one of the characters, and they look exactly like they do. And when they're lying, that's where you have to really pay attention, because you have 3 options. You can either say that yes, they were telling the truth, or you can go doubt. So you don't have proof that they're lying, but you think that they're lying just by their mannerisms and their facial expressions. Or you say a lie and then you have to back it up and say that this is why you're lying. But the only thing is that if you pick the wrong one, most of the time if it's doubt, and you say that you doubt them and it was actually a lie or they were telling the truth, then your character will all of a sudden just go like on this big spiel and just go like batshit crazy and say, you did it and I know you're lying to me. And then the person will just be like, okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore. So you kind of screw yourself over and not finding out more information that way. So you always have to pay attention to what's going on and keep reading your notes after you ask the suspect. So really, really awesome game. 32 hours, so it's a very lengthy game, and there's a lot of replayability. So I'll definitely be going back to that at some point in time. So those are the newer games that I picked up and that I've played. Now I've also picked up another few games that I have not yet played. So one of them would be Splinter Cell Double Agent. So I'm just trying to get all the Splinter Cell games, play through them eventually, and this is one of the ones that I was missing. I'm only missing now Chaos Theory for the original Xbox. I also picked up Sonic the Hedgehog. Unleashed once again, just because, you know, Pete Dorr and Sonic Anniversary coming up, so I want to get my Sonic on. And then I picked up 3 games from the same seller on eBay. So I picked up Final Fantasy Anthology, which is Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy VI. I've never played them and I've always wanted to, so eventually I'll get down to that. And then I also picked up Little Big Planet on the PlayStation 3 and Metal Gear Solid 4 on the PlayStation 3 as well. Now here's the thing about this. I don't own a PS3 yet, but this is my motivation to go get one, because now I have games for a system that I do not own, so I have to go get the system. And I do plan on getting either my next paycheck or the paycheck after that. And then hopefully I can finally start playing some PS3 exclusive games like those. So that's all my newer games that I picked up, and I'll just talk about some of the games I've been playing that I keep going back to. One of them would be Call of Duty Black Ops. For whatever reason, I picked it up on launch day or launch week, and I only played a little bit of it. I didn't even beat the campaign mode. So over the last few months, I decided, okay, I'm gonna beat the campaign mode. I beat the campaign mode, and then I've just been, you know, not addicted to their multiplayer, but I've really been enjoying it. And you know, even after I bought Brink, I kept coming back to this one just because it's such an awesome game online. Well, it's one of the more popular ones online, so that's why I think I'm liking it so much. And I do like the Call of Duty games. It's better than World at War, but not better than the Modern Warfares, for me anyway. And I still have to beat it on Veteran. I'm about halfway through on Veteran, and I'd like to complete that before I move on to whatever else I'm going to be playing. And another game that I've been playing over the last little while that I did beat is Harvest Moon 64. I gotta say that Harvest Moon is like one of the funnest games that I've ever played. It's so weird because the only point of it is that you're farming, so you're growing crops and you're meeting villagers and you're talking to them, and you're just it's kind of like The Sims, I guess, but in a farm world. And it's so addictive, and I'm just so glad that I was able to get this game. My brother bought it for me for Christmas, and you know, I hadn't played it for years, and I finally got to beat it. And now I'm going to just try to beat as many Harvest Moon games as I can. First game I ever beat was the one on PlayStation, Back to Nature, which is kind of like this one, but this is they're kind of different as well. But yeah, so I finally beat it, and this is like 40 hours or something like that. But awesome game, and I know that eventually at some point I'm going to be craving that Harvest Moon 64 again. And the last game that I've been playing ever since it released is Starcraft II. This is like in my top 5 favorite games of all time. It's so addictive. This is by far the best, you know, RTS ever that I've ever played. I used to play StarCraft. I even played it on the 64 because I didn't have a good enough computer back then to play it. And then I got a computer and I played StarCraft. I enjoyed StarCraft, and I really liked Warcraft 3 and the Frozen Throne. But StarCraft II just blows them out of the water. This is, you know, such a good game. And the thing is that even if you don't, I can't play like, you know, 40 hours a week or 50 or more than that on this game. So I'm just kind of in the middle. You know, I'm kind of getting better as I play. And that's the cool thing about this game, is that if you're not good at it, it keeps you either in Bronze League, Silver League, Gold League. There's Platinum, Diamond, there's Master League. There's so many leagues, and if it kind of pairs you with people that are about your skill level. So you're not always losing games and you're not always winning games. There's always, you know, somebody to beat, or somebody that you at least have a chance against in this game. So most chances are I will still be playing StarCraft II the next time that I do a gaming update, so I probably won't talk about it that much next time, but maybe I'll go into specific games that I played or something like that for my next few updates. So that's it for my first gaming update. Goodbye, everyone.